Chase Field, the September stretch is underway in Arizona. The Diamondbacks with one eye on the standings and another on Paul Goldschmidt's MVP case. Goldie in pursuit of the NL MVP award. He may be the front runner, and Wade Miley on the mound for this middle game of 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. Game 2 of 3 here against the Toronto Blue Jays. Looking ahead here to Paul Goldschmidt's MVP candidacy in the National League. Interesting, BB, when you look at last year in the American League and the debate between Mike Trout, the new school, and Miguel Cabrera, the old school, in terms of the categories and the voting and the sabermetrics and all of that. Interesting to see where Goldie falls this year between the old numbers and the new.
I think he's at the top of the list regardless of whether you look at the old or new. Obviously, the old numbers, batting average, home runs, RBIs, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS. He's ranked in the top 3 in the National League in all those categories. You'd like to see him get the batting average up over 300 because, believe it or not, there are some voters who feel that's an important yardstick for any player who's considered an MVP candidate. Now, the sabermetric numbers, and once again, like we told you last night, I'm not sure what all these mean exactly, but he's ranked in the top 3 in the National League in all these new metrics that they use to measure a player's effectiveness and where he ranks in the game. So no matter how you look at Paul Goldschmidt, he's having an MVP season.
And he's got one more month to go to try and lock up that MVP award in the National League. On the mound tonight for the Diamondbacks, Wade Miley looking for some run support for a change. He's had some tough luck lately.
He's absolutely had some tough luck. He has pitched well enough over his last 4 ball games to be 4-0, but his record stands at 0-1 since his 9th win of the season. Really keeping the ball down well, that brisk pace that we're used to seeing from Wade Miley. He's just been on top of his game. Hopefully his team will score some runs for him.
Well, Aaron Hill will try to do that. He's in the lineup tonight after the day off yesterday to open up this series. Aaron Hill getting a look at the Blue Jays when we come back here on Fox Sports Arizona. Chris Owings in the dugout. Aaron Hill in the lineup. More coming up. Next, by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino.
And welcome back to Chase Field on this Tuesday night, game 2 of a 3-game series between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Toronto Blue Jays. It is September, and so we've seen a couple of call-ups as we rejoin you. Jody Jackson here outside the Diamondbacks dugout. The first wave of call-ups, David Hernandez and Tony Sipp returned to the club, returned to the bullpen. But today we saw a couple of other call-ups. Teffy Gozwich and Matt Davidson, those two made their major league debut earlier this year. But we also have Chris Owings, the first chance to see him in an Arizona Diamondbacks uniform. And what a year he has had. The 2013 Pacific Coast League MVP as well as Rookie of the Year. Always very solid defensively, but offensively really turned a corner, and he was rewarded with a call-up to the big club.
I mean, it's just pretty cool. You know, I've walked in here a couple of times, you know, from spring training and stuff, but, you know, it's just a different feeling coming here, you know, preparing for, you know, a major league game, and just excited to be here.
And that is our Geico quote of the game. Wade Miley will take the hill for the Arizona Diamondbacks, looking for win number 10 on the season as he faces this Blue Jays lineup. We'll have the first pitch with Stephen Bob next.
Touch that boy band hair. Matt Davidson, Teffy Gozwich, and Chris Owings. Chris, you have something on your head. They are with the big league club after David Hernandez and Tony Sipp were brought up from Reno earlier on the homestand. Rookie hazing.
Yeah, never ends, never ends. That's a good thing. That's a way you make the rookies feel a part of it. You have a little fun at their expense. See how they take it, and that goes a long way toward establishing your place in the pecking order of a ball club.
Diamondbacks come into tonight 2 games over 500 on the season, 12.5 back of the Dodgers for the NL West lead, 7 games behind the Reds for that second NL wild card. And this is the batting order for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Reyes at the top. Rajai Davis, you got to keep an eye on this guy. 40 out of 44 in stolen base attempts this season. Edwin Encarnacion, big-time power in that 3 spot. Middle of the order will be Brett Lowry, Mark DeRosa, J.P. Arancibia, Moises Sierra out in right field, Kevin Pillar in left field once again, and Todd Redmond, the right-hander, doing the pitching tonight.
John Gibbons directing the Blue Jays, his second go-round as their manager. Middle of a 3-game set at Chase Field. Back with you tomorrow afternoon for the series and homestand finale as Jose Reyes steps in to lead it off. Diamondbacks and Blue Jays underway here at Chase Field. First pitch, base hit for Reyes as he shoots it into right. Leadoff man on against Wade Miley. This is the defense behind him.
And if Wade Miley's good, the defense will be busy. Eaton, Pollock, and Parra left to right across the outfield. Prado, Gregorius today on the left side of the infield. Hill and Goldschmidt once again on the right side. Miguel Montero behind the dish for left-hander Wade Miley.
28th start this year for Wade Miley, looking for his 10th win. A win today, and Wade would join Randy Johnson as the only Diamondbacks lefties with back-to-back seasons of at least 10 wins. The speedy Rajai Davis steps in with Reyes on first. Greg Gibson is the home plate umpire tonight.
Yeah, Reyes is a guy at first base that will run on occasion, not as much as he used to, 12 out of 17 this season, but he's fourth on the active stolen base list behind Juan Pierre, Ichiro Suzuki, and Carl Crawford.
Rajai Davis getting the start in center field tonight. 265, 2 home runs. This guy hits lefties pretty well, over 350 this season versus left-hand pitching. Miley ahead 1-2. Rajai Davis from New London, Connecticut. He's a Yukon Husky, same as Charles Danke. The numbers versus lefties this year. Goldie holding Reyes on at first. That's in the dirt. It's even 2-2.
Well, no team ever likes to be without their starting catcher for any amount of time, but I think the time that Miguel Montero spent on the disabled list down in extended spring working on some things, especially his defense, his blocking has been really good since he came back off the DL.
There's the strike. Ring him up, sit him down. 1 out here in the first. Brings up Edwin Encarnacion, who last night hit one to Mars.
Ooh, look away. Oh, man.
His 35th, about 12-15 rows deep in the left. 2-run home run.
His last 4 games here at Chase Field. 7 for 14 with 6 homers. Be careful.
Right field, Parra. He won't get there. Reyes on the move into third. Louis Rivera stops him there. First and third for the Blue Jays with 1 out in the first.
Well, it looks like the Blue Jays are going to be aggressive against Wade Miley. Has a reputation of being a strike thrower, trying to jump ahead in the count. And as soon as he sees that ball's going to be down safely in right field, Reyes easily advances first to third.
And once again, we've got a Diamondback starting pitcher in immediate trouble. 2 on, 1 out, Brett Lawrie. 0 for 4 yesterday. 1-0. Lawrie 252, 10 home runs.
Lawrie has a lot of movement with that bat. A little bit of a hitch. Kind of circles the barrel of the bat as he's striding into the ball. A lot of movement.
A high energy guy, to say the least. Drives that one to left. Adam Eaton. Reyes had to hold up. He'll come in and score. The Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead. 37th RBI for Brett Lawrie.
Bad pitch down in the zone, out over the plate, but Lowry just went down there and got it. Hooked a little line drive into left field in front of Adam Eaton. Reyes, as you mentioned, had to hold up momentarily at third to make sure that ball got down, but then easily jogs home with the first run of the game.
Brings up the veteran Mark DeRosa. Encarnacion, the runner at second, Lawrie at first. DeRosa 215. here in his 16th big league season. And Bob, this guy was supposed to be sort of the final ingredient on a division-winning team here. The veteran guy off the bench that can play here, play there, the final piece of the puzzle, and it just hasn't worked out that way, and he's been kind of riding out the year in Toronto.
Yeah, DeRosa's always been one of those guys that quote-unquote plays the game the right way. Very solid fundamental player no matter where you put him defensively on the field. Give you a good at bat, works a lot of deep counts, has some pop in that bat. As you can see, 100 home runs over his 16 years, most of those spent as a part-time player.
Shot to short. Didi Gregorius gets rid of it quickly. Aaron Hill has no play. And Encarnacion to third. That's the second out.
Well, for Aaron Hill, that's where it really helps to know that base runner at first base. You mentioned Laurie, a high energy guy going in there with bad intent to break up that double play. Nothing dirty at all about it. Just a nice, hard, clean slide. Aaron Hill had no choice but to get the force and then get out of the way.
Brings up the catcher, J.P. Arancibia, another power bat in this lineup.
Who, by the way, is a WW. 129 strikeouts in 414 at-bats against only 16 walks.
Yeah, he's struggling at 210, but does have the 20 homers. University of Tennessee volunteer, first-round pick by the Jays in the 07 draft. And Arancibia, good power, 23 homers as a rookie 2 years ago, 18 home runs last season. And the issue has been consistency. He was hitting .250 at the end of April this year. Got off to a good start, but since May the 1st has hit under 200. You were saying?
He wants to swing that bat. He does have some defensive issues behind the plate that he's working very hard to correct. He's had 13 pass balls this season, only thrown out 14% of the attempted base stealers. But when you hit 20, 25 home runs a season, most teams will live with that trade-off.
They've had to call Josh Tolley up. We saw Tolley start yesterday's ball game. He's become R.A. Dickey's personal catcher, handling that knuckleball. 3-1 to Arancibia. Wade Miley trying to strand these runners on the corners and 2 outs. And Encarnacion, the runner at third. Mark DeRosa at first. He'll be off for the pitch here. 3-2, 2 outs.
You mentioned R.A. Dickey, the knuckleball pitcher. I looked it up just out of curiosity. He's only thrown 7 wild pitches this year. He relies on that knuckleball, not exclusively, but certainly that's his go-to pitch. Only 7 wild pitches this year. You compare that to the D-back staff. Wade Miley on the mound tonight has uncorked 12 wild pitches, as has Patrick Corbin, and Trevor Cahill leading the way with 16.
Big strikeout there for Wade Miley to strand 2, his second K of the inning. But the Blue Jays get 1. We head to the home half at Chase Field. Diamondbacks down 1-0. Pace with the Reds, who apparently are about to shut out the Cardinals in Cincinnati. Dodgers in action as well. They're at Coors Field, Colorado, and LA leads that game 3-0. The lineup for the Diamondbacks tonight:
Eaton, Pollock, Goldschmidt at the top, Prado, Hill, Montero in the middle, Parra, Gregorius, and Miley at the bottom. Boy, Kirk Gibson pretty much made his feelings known about his offensive performance recently. Everybody's not Cy Young. Certainly Todd Redmond is not Cy Young.
6'3" right-hander from St. Petersburg, Florida. 39th round pick by the Pirates back in 2004. Redmond didn't make his big league debut until last season when he was 27. He made one start for the Reds. Adam Eaton fouls that one away. Redmond was waived by Cincinnati, waived by Baltimore this spring, and now he's here with Toronto, making his 10th start. Adam Eaton at 270, a couple of home runs. Back in the leadoff spot tonight. He's been in the 2-hole a lot lately. 0 for 4 yesterday. Having a good homestand. Where's Redmond's a big dude. He should be playing linebacker somewhere at 6'3", 235.
For the Argonauts.
Did you ever catch an Argos game when you were a Blue Jay?
No, never did. Never did.
Soft flare in the left. Kevin Pillar's under it.
I caught very few Blue Jays games for that matter.
Literally.
Yeah.
You were watching those. That was
in the house.
That was the issue.
Got a great seat.
Defensively, Toronto looks as such.
Kevin Pillar in left, Rajay Davis out in center, Moises Sierra in right field. It'll be Lowry and Reyes on the left side, DeRosa Encarnacion on the right side. Aaron Sebia doing the catching tonight for right-hander Todd Redmond.
A.J. Pollock, center field tonight, batting second.
With that shutout victory by the Reds over the Cardinals tonight, that's twice in a week that Homer Bailey has held the Cardinals scoreless. 7 innings, 2 hits tonight, no runs. Last Wednesday, 7 1/3, 5 hits, no runs.
Boy, the teams just ahead of the Diamondbacks in these races refuse to lose. So the Diamondbacks now need to win here to stay 7 back of the Reds for that second wild card. They are 12.5 games behind the Dodgers in the division. Dodgers at Coors Field, and they lead now 4-0 in the 5th. That's Ricky Nolasco versus Jhoulys Chacin. We had a foul ball hit directly above our booth and apparently knocked over a beverage.
Apparently so. It started raining.
I think it's raining Miller Lite. Had to cover the camera. Our unreliable staff is springing into action back here. 2-2. Amazing we've gone the whole year and only 1 ball in the booth. And that was on a hop.
That was on a hop. I got a feeling we're going to get one here in September, though.
Dennis Lamb. There's Dennis. He's the reliable member of the staff up here. And Dennis is, you can see we've had to cover the camera with a towel.
It's high-tech operation we have up here.
We were talking about Bob and Doug McKenzie yesterday, and now we're covered in beer. Hard to short. Knocks down Reyes from his keister, and he throws him out. Have a seat. That just knocked him over.
AJ hit it right on the button. Reyes kind of got his feet twisted around, and with the speedy AJ Pollock motoring down that line, Reyes decided he didn't have time to get to his feet. So from a seated position at shortstop, throws across the diamond for the out.
And they get AJ by a step. 2 down. Here's Paul Goldschmidt. He did not go, says Jerry Lane, the crew chief at first. Goldie 5 ahead of Brandon Phillips for the National League RBI title. He trails Pedro Alvarez by 1 in the home run race and trails only Cargo in OPS in the National League. We talked about Goldie's MVP candidacy at the top of the show. He is a leader in the traditional counting stats that the old school voters like. He is also a leader in the more sabermetrically inclined stats. So we think he's got a pretty good case here.
And I think the vote was just among National League managers and coaches and players. Goldie would immediately shoot to the top of the list based on what we've heard from managers and coaches around the league this year.
And you mentioned it, Bob. Is it important for him to have that batting average start with a 3?
You know, we know how arbitrary that can be, but just for, you know,
aesthetics.
His bubblegum card. It looks great on the back of your bubblegum card when your average starts with a 3.
And it looks good on an MVP ballot as well. That's where you worry. Another full count to Goldie. That one is bounced to Laurie at third. 1-2-3 first for the Diamondbacks here. We take a break. They trail at 1-0. Ready for the second inning at Chase Field. Moises Sierra steps in against Wade Miley. Blue Jays with 3 hits in the first, lead at 1-0. And there's the strike to Sierra. Don't get your hand caught in the honey jar. Sierra 207 on the year. He was 1 for 4 in yesterday's series opener. He doubled and scored a run. Just his 12th game in the big leagues this season. Down the line in right. What a play. Moises Sierra made his debut this year August 21st. He's just recently been called up from the Dominican Republic. Played 100 games at AAA Buffalo, hit .261 with 11 homers. Have a seat. Third strikeout for Wade Miley. 1 away here in the second.
Left fielder, number 22.
Right down the middle, a little two-seam fastball. Just a little bit of tailing action right there, but just froze Sierra, who was obviously looking for something else in that 2-strike count.
Kevin Pillar, the left fielder. Pillar had an RBI single yesterday, scored a run. Part of that 3-run Toronto second, or 2-run Toronto second, that for the most part was all the scoring up until the 9th inning yesterday. Brandon McCarthy, he was absolutely sensational. That second inning aside, once he settled down, he retired 16 in a row, went all the way. 4 runs on 5 hits, no walks through 93 pitches, and Another encouraging sign for Brandon yesterday. 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that second inning when he gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. And then the 9th inning, possibly tiring a little bit, gave up a leadoff single and then that long home run to Edwin Encarnacion. But every other pitch that he threw in the ballgame was quality yesterday.
With the exception of a hit batter with 2 outs in the 3rd, the Blue Jays did not have a base runner from the bottom of the 2nd until the 9th inning. AJ can't quite get that one, and Pilar is into second. Right into no man's land.
Full swing jam shot out there into shallow left center field. That'll fool more outfielders than anything else. When a batter takes a full swing and hits the ball off the hands, able to get a glove on it, just couldn't close the leather around that baseball as it trickles out when he hits the ground, and Pilar hustling the whole way ends up at second base.
Well, hit them where they ain't.
Well, maybe not hustling all the way, but hustling enough to get to second base.
Here's the pitcher, Todd Redmond. This guy's a pretty interesting story. He's made over 200 minor league starts. He was 20 years old when he began his professional career at low A ball. And for the last 5 full seasons has been toiling in AAA. Finally made his big league debut last year at the age of 27. Pitched 1 game. And now he's here with the Blue Jays. Reyes on deck. He singled and scored the game's only run. Miley behind on the opposing pitcher, 3-0. A 4-pitch walk to the pitcher.
Talking about Redmond's career reminds me of that quote from Jim Bouton, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact wording. Something to the effect that all this time I thought I had a grip on the baseball when it turns out it was the other way around. I think Todd Redmond is a guy that just has it in his blood. Just wants to be out there competing, even if it is at the AAA level for 5 consecutive years.
So here's Reyes, 2 on, 1 out. And Miley, who's become an outstanding ground ball pitcher, could really use one right here. There it is, but it gets by Didi. They wave Pilar. Adam Eaton comes up throwing. It's not in time to run, scores. Gets away. Miley backing up, but Redmond's in at third. 2-0 Toronto. Just a little roller that squeaked into left.
Just past a diving Didi Gregorius at shortstop. You see Luis Rivera waving him on home. Adam Eaton in pretty good position to make that throw. Unfortunately, it's way over into foul territory. Miggy tried to hold his ground on that plate, swipe, and hopefully come up with the ball cleanly and try to apply a tag quick, but just wasn't able to do that.
So the Blue Jays here have had a nothing pop-up bloop that dropped into shallow center, a walk to the pitcher, and a little seeing eye single past the shortstop, and they've added another run. And here's Davis, who struck out looking his first time. And they got him at first. Reyes caught napping.
I don't even think he was running. He just got fooled by the move. Wade Miley, he was just ready to take his secondary lead and get out there and wait and see what happened at the plate. Nice pickoff move by Wade Miley. Big one.
2 outs now. Here's Davis. Down the line in right and slicing out of play. It's 0-2. It's been a tough summer for Rajai Davis. He's hit under 220 since July the 1st.
He's definitely a weapon when he gets on base. We talked about his stolen base numbers, 40 out of 44 on the season, 10 out of 11 stealing third base. So this is one of those guys, when he gets on, he makes things happen.
40 steals, second only to Boston's Jacoby Ellsbury in the major leagues. Ellsbury has 51. Redmond the pitcher at third with 2 outs.
We're kind of lost in the shuffle in that throw from Adam Eaton to the plate. That's good base running by a pitcher, a guy that doesn't get on base very much, if at all. Read the throw from Adam Eaton, saw it was going to be over the cutoff man, so he just kept motoring from first, rounded second, and ended up sliding into third on his belly. Hopefully that'll take something out of him when he gets back out there on the mound.
Well, we mentioned he's a big dude down there, so he's got a lot to take with him around those bases. High and deep to left center field. Pollock, Eaton at the wall, and that ball is hammered out of here for a 2-run homer. The 4th for Rajai Davis. And it's 4-0 Toronto. Third of the year for Davis, and he did not miss it. Charles Nagy.
20th of the season surrendered by Wade Miley. Just elevated, middle of the thighs, middle of the plate. He's a guy that needs to be down to be effective. Grinding at bat that time by Davis. Fouled off a number of 2-strike pitches before he finally got one up in the zone he could handle.
If it weren't for the Jose Reyes pickoff at first, it would be 5-0. In theory. Speaking of home runs, here's Edwin Encarnacion. He singled his first time.
The right-handed pull shift, you rarely see this. Second baseman on the shortstop side of the bag out there. Paul Goldschmidt, the Maytag repairman on the right side of the infield.
Lonely?
He's lonely.
Look out. That went about 8 rows behind the Diamondback dugout. And the Chase Field staff quickly attending to those sitting down there, make sure everybody's okay. Anytime that happens here at the ballpark, there are a team of people that immediately respond. President and CEO Derek Hall is over there, up from his seat to make sure everybody's okay. 1-2 to Edwin Encarnacion. Two and two. Well, Miley about to throw his 50th pitch here through 1 2/3.
Fifth 3-ball count in the game already for Wade Miley here in the second inning.
They're still attending to some fans behind the Diamondback dugout, and you can see Encarnacion is clearly distracted with what's going on behind him. Another 3-2 here. Down the line in right, and then drops in for a fair ball. Edwin Encarnacion will stop at second. That's his 27th double, and the Blue Jays are teeing off on Wade Miley.
You saw the exaggerated pull shift on for Encarnacion. He just slices one down that right field line. We were hoping that thing would slice into foul territory, but stays fair by about 5 feet. By the time Parra can get to it, Encarnacion is in at second base with a 2-out double.
7th hit for the Blue Jays. They lead it 4-0. Brett Lawrie, RBI single his first time.
Where so far Miley just has not been able to command that slider. You know, when he gets to 2 strikes, that's a pitch he likes to throw down in the zone, get some swings and misses, get some easy contact. Just hasn't been able to get that pitch to the location where he needs to. Blue Jays hitters just laying off of it, making him come in with another fastball.
Two 2-0. Up the middle, base hit. Rivera waves Encarnacion, no throw, and it's 5-0 Toronto. Two at bats, 2 RBI singles for Brett Lawrie.
The first 4 hitters in the Blue Jay lineup are 7 for 8 already, and we're only in the 2nd inning. Boy, that one just missed Wade Miley. Hit a knuckleball right back up the middle of the field. Whew. Reyes with 2 hits, scored a run. Davis with a hit, hit a homer, drove in 2. Encarnacion with a single double, he scored a run. And Lowry with 2 singles and drove in 2 runs.
Mark DeRosa reached on a fielder's choice his first time. We haven't seen a lot of this lately from Wade Miley. His season really changed once the calendar turned to July. He was 4-7 after his last start in June. The ERA for the year was over 4.5, but he's been outstanding since July the 1st. 5-2. He's pitched to a 2.29 ERA since July 1, but this one has gotten away right out of the gate here. Josh Colmenter. Edwin Encarnacion, the fan who was hit by his bat behind the Diamondback dugout, has been attended to and it has been escorted underneath the seats here, and you can see that it's clearly weighing on his mind.
We see that happen all the time over the course of a long summer of baseball. Bats and balls flying into the stands. You just always hope it either hits an empty seat or there's somebody around that's aware enough.
Stolen base. 7th of the season for Brett Lawrie.
Just took off on first movement that time. Miggy doesn't even come out of his crouch that time. Just tried to throw from his shin guards. One hops it down there to Aaron Hill, but Lawrie in safely with a stolen base.
2 outs, Lawrie on second. 3-1 to Mark DeRosa. Ball 4. Second walk of the inning issued by Wade Miley. Charles Nagy on the phone to Glenn Sherlock.
I mean, this has got to be unexpected for the Blue Jays. They've really struggled against left-handed pitching this season. They're next to the last in the American League in batting average against lefties, next to the last in extra base hits, second from the last in on-base plus slugging.
Miley's recorded only one out himself at the plate in this inning. The other was on a Jose Reyes pickoff, and his night will end here after only 1 2/3. Pitching change, we take a break. Third here at Chase Field, the shortest outing by a Diamondback starting pitcher this season, with the exception of Trevor Cahill, when Trevor was hit on the hip by a comebacker against the Marlins and had to leave due to injury. Wade Miley twice had gone 3 2/3. That had been his shortest outing ever, except for tonight. 1 2/3 he is done. Enter Josh Colmenter now for the 41st time this year.
Previous 40 games that Josh Colmenter has pitched in a total of 80 innings. Obviously, he's not just a matchup guy. He's in there to go as long as he can go in this ball game, or at least until you get to that pitcher spot, possibly with a chance to score some runs.
4 runs in the inning. Blue Jays got 1 in the first on 3 hits. They have 4 in the second, including Rajai Davis's long home run to left center. 0-1. A little roller up near first base. Goldie, the flip to Colmenter covering, and that's the inning. But it's a 4-run second for Toronto. They take a 5-0 lead. CenturyLink, your link to what's next coming up for the Diamondbacks. Martin Prado looks to make it 10 in a row. By Cox Communications and Fry's Food Stores is headed to Chase Field September 29th for a game against the Nationals. And you can get on board. Just stop by the Fry's store in Cottonwood and you can enter to win round-trip transportation on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express. All the info you need is on foxsportsarizona.com. Martin Prado leads off the second for the Diamondbacks against the big right-hander Todd Redmond, who worked a 1-2-3 first. Prado up to 289 and 13 homers. It was on June 25th where he was at 238 for the year. And now he's knocking on 290's door. Good seats, batter's box suites here at Chase Field.
Good seats, good eats.
Oh, I see what you did there. Call marketing. Bring him up, sit him down. The strikeout for Redmond. And Martin Prado and Greg Gibson will have a discussion here.
Well, you got a hitter as locked in as Martin Prado is. He's got a pretty good eye for his own strike zone. Greg Gibson thought that one caught the bottom of the knees. Martin thought it was too low. I would tend to defer to Martin Prado right now.
Well, I know that you would for other reasons, perhaps, because as memory serves.
Yeah.
I believe. Now, I'm just. Let me see. Greg Gibson,
yeah.
Bob Brenly. There's a history.
Yeah.
Now, what is the story?
It was my first ejection. I would guess it might have been his first as well. Mark Grace was called out on a check swing, and Greg Gibson was the third base umpire right here at then Bank One Ballpark. And after Greg Gibson rang him up on the check swing, strike three, Gracie, hey, come on, let's go. Walk back to the dugout, and Greg Gibson never took his eyes off of him. All the length of the dugout on the third base side, and as soon as Gracie opened his mouth, he threw him out of the game. Now, as a rookie manager, I read that manual, and it said you're supposed to stick up for your players in a situation like that. So I came out to argue with Greg Gibson, and ultimately I got tossed as well.
Did you point out to him how he had sort of been staring Gracie down?
Yeah, that was the whole point of my argument was, hey, you've got to understand the guy's not happy. He struck out. He thought you made a bad call on him. He didn't swear. He didn't direct anything at you. He was just frustrated, but you had baited him. You watched him all the way over in the dugout. I said, that one's on you. And that's when he said, you can go up and shower with Gracie.
Popped him up high in the air, third base side. Brett Lawrie calling for it. That's the second out.
And we had a few other go-rounds at various times over the years, but ultimately I came to have a grudging respect for Greg Gibson. I think he handles himself real well out there on the field. I think he's more patient than most of the younger umpires in the game. He'll let you speak your piece for the most part, but initially, like I said, I felt I had to stick up for Gracie, make a statement to our team, and show them that I had their backs.
In doing some research when I saw Greg Gibson was here, I noted that you were actually ejected one time as a coach. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, with the Giants, yeah.
94.
I got suspended.
Oh,
I was a bad boy.
What'd you do?
Well, Barry got hit by a pitch. We were playing the Montreal Expos. Mel Rojas drills Barry after Barry had homered earlier in the game, and bench is clear. And everybody went to Barry. I mean, both teams surrounded Barry, and Mel Rojas was standing out there on the mound by himself. So by the time I ambled in from the bullpen at Candlestick Park, it just seemed like, man, somebody ought to go out there and address Mr. Rojas. And I took it upon myself to go out there and point out the errors of his way, and proceeded to get the living snot beat out of me. And
Mel Rojas?
Well, and others. It started with me and Mel Rojas, ended with many, many others on top of the pile. I was getting kicked and sucker punched, and came up out of there bleeding profusely from a head injury, and I got suspended.
Nice work.
Yeah, way to go.
Was that in the manual?
No, I just made that one up. That was one of those unwritten things.
Back with you tomorrow for the series finale. Don't forget, it's a day game tomorrow and getaway day, so we should play at least 15 innings.
Yeah.
There's the strikeout, the second for Redmond. He's faced 6, he's retired 6, and he's got a 5-0 lead through 2. Comenter on in relief of Wade Miley, who struggled and lasted only 1 2/3, the shortest outing of Wade Miley's career. And now it's Josh Comenter who will start the third. He'll work to Moises Sierra, Kevin Pillar, and the pitcher Todd Redmond. 7, 8, 9 for the Blue Jays. Toronto.
Excuse me.
All Toronto so far, Bob.
Swinging those bats, coming out aggressively against Wade Miley, attacking him early in the count. And yeah, to be fair to Wade Miley, he just didn't have all his weapons tonight. He was trying to get by with one pitch and one pitch alone, and you can't do that against any team in the major leagues.
Out in front of that changeup, 1-1. So it's up to Josh Comenter to do his Josh Comenter thing, which is, give you 5 innings of shutout relief in the middle of a game, which is what he usually does.
Yeah, and hope his offense figures out Todd Redmond at some point here in the very near future. We know they can do it. They've done it all season long. You don't like to be in a situation like this, trailing by 5 in the 3rd inning, but Diamondbacks have been in this kind of hole before and have managed to battle back and in some cases come back and win those games.
2-2. Bounces that one. It's full. Audi Club here at Chase Field. Oh, it's like a disco in there. Right behind home plate. You see those seats right behind the plate. You can duck in there and get a cool, refreshing beverage.
Yeah, and you don't miss any of the action. You see all the screens right there. See every pitch.
That's some Sedona red lighting going on in there. One of the many reasons to come out to Chase Field, and when you do, visit section 111 and ask about season tickets. Become a Diamondback season ticket holder for 2014. Lots of benefits. Drives that one to par in Go downstairs to Jody.
All right, guys. Hockey seems to be a theme with the Blue Jays in town, and I'm alongside Phoenix Coyote Paul Bissonnette. Paul, your first game here at Chase this year. Out here to see the Jays, I imagine.
Yeah. I actually didn't know they were in town until Rudy told me, one of our trainers. So I thought I'd come support basically my local team. I'm from about an hour and a bit away. I don't want to piss any D-backs fans off, but that's where my roots are. So I got to root for the Jays.
Okay, we saw a bunch of guys out here in hockey gear yesterday. I'm glad you just dressed, in normal baseball fan gear. But anyway, excited for the season. I know the ice went down in Glendale just today, and you guys are ready to get training camp going, aren't you?
No, it's exciting. I mean, we had a big sign in getting Smitty back and then bringing in Ribeiro. I don't know, Nasher just interviewed him the other day, but he looks good, and it's exciting. I think one of our weaknesses has been our power play over the last few years. Even when we made our run, in playoffs our power play wasn't great. So, adding Ribeiro to that mix and having Leandro come back and Oliver in the back end, it's going to be fun. And a lot of guys are excited. A lot of guys have a lot to prove. And once we get Bodker signed here, I think we're going to make another step in the right direction.
You sense just an entirely different feeling in the community and with the franchise, with George Gosby and what he's been able to do, and Anthony LeBlanc and the ownership situation now being stable.
Yeah, at least for the next 5 years. You look at any situation, it's hard for fans to invest their time and money in something they're not for sure about. And now with this, and now with ownership and a lot of positive energy going towards the right way, it's good to see. It kind of gives you chills to know that you got a home base at least for a little while now.
Well, it's exciting to get the season going. I have to ask you too. Speaking of hockey, baseball. Did you ever? You're an enforcer, and we know that. And have you ever played baseball?
No, I never went anywhere far in baseball. Just basically slow pitch. Played a little beer leagues, in the summer times when I was in the American League for fun. But yeah, I was never any good. My hand-eye's not great, as a lot of people know. So I try to keep it pretty simple.
Well, I'm sure you've seen there is not much of a role for fighting, although it does happen occasionally in baseball. But, Paul, thanks a lot. We'll look forward to seeing you out there on the ice for the Coyotes.
For sure. I'm excited. Thanks.
We'll send it back up to you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks. Paul is now my new favorite Coyote.
Yeah.
Nice work. Todd Redmond. Walked and scored his first time. You're a big hockey guy. You got tickets to everything.
Season tickets to the Yotes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love hockey. I grew up watching minor league hockey back in Ohio, the Columbus Checkers.
Come on, you're making that up.
No. Later they became the Columbus Golden Seals, but yeah, they were initially the Columbus Checkers.
A lot of seals in Columbus, Ohio?
Oh, yeah, bunches of them. They used to play over at the fairgrounds. We'd drive over there on Saturday and Sunday nights, watch some minor league hockey. Later on, had season tickets to minor league hockey in San Francisco before the Sharks got there.
Oh, I remember you telling us about that last time.
And then we got Sharks tickets at the old Cow Palace before they moved down to San Jose in it was a new arena at the time. But, boy, what a venue here. Great place to go watch a hockey game.
They did a great job with it in Glendale, so be watching the Coyotes. There's the strikeout for Colemenser. That's his first of the ball game, and he comes in and puts out the fire with a 1-2-3 third. Paul Bissonnette watching his Jays lead the D-backs 5-0. Those of us who remember the 72 Olympics will remember Olga Korbut. And how about this for a first pitch? Right off the balance beam and right to Matt Davidson, who is taller kneeling than Olga is standing. Nicely done.
I'm not sure, but I think that's a balk.
Well, she did pause, which leads nicely into our AT&T Twitter poll question. Your favorite all-time women's gymnast? You've got Olga Korbut, Gabby Douglas, Nadia Comaneci, or Mary Lou Retton, America's darling sweetheart, and the whole thing. So there you go. Gymnast, this is your chance to shine at Fox Sports Arizona. Nadia.
The Romanian athletes always look so happy.
Well, it's a party. It's a party town. And there is Olga Korbut, the great gymnast. Hello, Olga. Gerardo Parra leads off the third. Parra, Gregorius, and Colemenser for the Diamondbacks, still looking for their first hit against Todd Redmond. You never know who you're going to see here at Chase Field. Paul Bissonnette, Olga Korbut, spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sports fame. And the agony of defeat, which probably hurt a lot on the balance beam.
Ooh.
0-2. There's Olga.
I saw a piece in the Arizona Republic earlier this week where Olga was talking about practicing for her first pitch, and she promised to bring a little something, and she did.
Yeah, terrific. Well, there was the one, I think it was a Reds game, I want to say. The ballerinas kind of did a twirl. It was the other day, a big spinning thing, and then they threw it. All right, there's a lot going on down there. 2-2. All right, to Mark DeRosa at second. One away in the third. A reminder, fans, every time a Diamondbacks player hits a home run this season, Fulton Homes will donate $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. Brings up Didi Gregorius. Here's a question for you, BB, and I know only Kirk Gibson can answer this, but everybody has a thought. So now that things are getting crowded up here, and you've got Owings, who was a Pacific Coast League MVP and Rookie of the Year, and trying to figure out where he fits into the plan long term, and you're still trying to win a playoff spot. And you've got Willie who can play short, you've got Cliff Pennington, and you've got Didi Gregorius, and now Chris Owings. How do you get all these guys involved?
Well, and I only base this on the way that Matt Davidson was handled when he came up to the major leagues. I think Gibby will look for spots to drop him in there where he thinks it might be a good matchup for Chris Owings. But, until the Diamondbacks are officially eliminated from playoff contention, I think Gibby's going to go with his guys, the guys that have been here all year, the guys that are a little bit more of a sure thing. But should the Diamondbacks eventually drop out of that wild card race, I think you might see certainly Davidson and Owings getting quite a bit of playing time down the stretch.
How might it benefit them just to be here? I mean, their season's over anyway in Reno, so it's not like they're sitting and not playing. They wouldn't be playing anyway, but they're here. What do they sort of mean from that?
Well, I think one of the biggest things any young player can learn in his time in September in the big leagues is how the guys go about their business up here at this level. I mean, obviously you have to be talented, you have to have certain tools to succeed at this level, but I think the real eye-opener is how hard these guys work after they get to the big leagues just to be able to stay here and keep their jobs. You know, there's that misconception that, well, I'm in the big leagues now and you can just kind of kick back and relax. You've reached your goal. Well, your goal is to stay in the big leagues for a long time, and that's where that extra hard work, guys like Martin Prado sitting right there to your left, Paul Goldschmidt, certainly his daily routine to prepare for a ball game every night. You can really learn a lot by watching good big league players and how they go about their business.
And the old MLB per diem don't hurt either.
That doesn't hurt a thing.
Pick up an extra month of envelopes. The old magic envelope rolls around. 0-2. Laurie, he's got room. Boy, he can go get it. Brett Laurie bringing the one. Speaking of some of the Diamondbacks' young minor league talent, our APS Energy All-Star is Archie Bradley, the Southern League's most outstanding pitcher with a 12-5 record and an ERA under 2. And that's another question down the road. When do we see Archie? Archie was on the Twitter the other day watching some football. Actually, it was yesterday. As Coleman lines one to the gap in right center. Davis tracks it down. And that's the inning. Diamondbacks still looking for their first hit against Todd Redmond. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. 2 for 2, and he is the focus of our Ram Trucks Tools of the Trade. Jose Reyes with the hitting and the running and the fielding and the throwing and the whole thing.
He's got all the tools, no question about that. Boy, and I'll tell you what, through the first 3 innings of this ball game, well, actually just the first 2 innings alone, I got a saying we used to like to tell the guys, go fill up the box score. Let's go out there and fill up the box score tonight. Man, you look at those first 2 innings for the Blue Jay, they filled up the box score.
Not a lot of whites left.
No.
Reyes 2 for 2 as he leads off the 4th. Reyes, Davis, and Encarnacion top of the order against Josh Colementor, who came on in relief of Wade Miley. Wade had the shortest outing of his career, going only 1 2/3, and so far Colementor has retired all 4 he's faced. Jose Reyes has got all the tools, certainly a 4-time All-Star. Won the National League batting title 2 years ago. In his final season with the Mets, he hit .337. There's the strikeout. That's the second for Colementor. 1 down in the 4th. Boy, this guy can put out a fire.
Oh, he restores order quickly.
With 2 pitches.
With 2 pitches, yep.
And one of them's an 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's straight.
It's unbelievable. Rajay Davis. Rajay Davis was a 38th round pick by the Pirates back in 01 out of UConn. Same school that produced Charles Nagy. Don't see a lot of good ball players come out of the Northeast. All that cold weather, not a lot of baseball.
Spend a lot of time working out in gymnasiums, batting cages, weight rooms. Very little time actually on a baseball field.
I imagine it was very much the same for you in Ohio, right?
Yeah. I always felt, players in the Midwest and the Northeast got a little bit of a short straw in that regards, because I felt because of the time you spent working on fundamentals, when you do get out on the actual field of play, that's the fun part. There's another strikeout for Josh Colementor.
He has now struck out 3 in a row.
I just think a lot of guys from the Northeast and the Midwest and the Pacific Northwest occasionally got penalized because of geography. A lot of good ball players slipped through the cracks.
Ooh, I think that one slipped through Greg Gibson's strike zone. But we'll take it. Here's Encarnacion. So far, he has singled, doubled, and scored a run. Now, do franchises have fewer scouts in those areas? I mean, everybody's talking about geography. All the scouts are responsible for different areas, right? Do they concentrate them more in southern and western parts rather than the Northeast?
I think, I don't know for a fact, but I would guess that, yes, they do have more scouts in those areas just because there's more games being played and it's spread out over a much larger territory. Every team has area scouts, and you're responsible for your area. You have other scouts underneath you that go out and beat the bushes and look for talent, but I think the emphasis has always been and probably will always be in the South and the Southwest and the West Coast.
And Josh Colementor's another example, growing up in Homer, Michigan, where it's freezing all the time, and I had to have some coaches beat on some doors, making a case for him. Throwing axes out there in the woods.
And, there's a lot of summer wood bat leagues and the Cape Cod League, a lot of different places for college players to showcase their talents. The problem sometimes from the smaller schools in the Northeast and the Midwest is just getting an opportunity to go play in those leagues and compete against other college players who are at the top of their game.
Because the coaches always know the coaches from the southern teams, the big producers of talents, and there's kind of a pipeline system. Encarnacion reaches, and Colementor with 2 outs. A work to Brett Lawrie. He had retired 6 in a row. Laurie's 2 for 2, a pair of RBI singles. He's also stolen a base.
Well, you can see the frustration on the part of Josh Colementor right there. He doesn't like to walk guys. Even power hitters like Edwin Encarnacion. He wants to go right after him, and that time just nibbled a little bit too much.
Speaking of guys playing in the Northeast, Brett Laurie from Langley, British Columbia. Joey Votto, another great Canadian player. Let's go downstairs to Jody with more on Brett Laurie.
I know you guys have been talking a lot about his energy that he brings to the ballpark. Well, it definitely runs in the family. His sister Danielle, one of the best college players to ever play softball, two-time National College Player of the Year in 2009 and 2010, led the University of Washington to the Women's College World Series championship. And Brett once committed to ASU, signing with the Brewers, but he said his competition with his sister, it's fueled what he's been able to do in the big leagues because losing was never an option growing up. So when you see him and the energy that he brings, you know that came from his dad, Russ, his mom, Cheryl, who referred to them as the Fighting Lauries.
Very athletic family. Brett out of Langley, BC. First round pick by Milwaukee in the 08 draft. He was the 16th player selected overall. In fact, was drafted just 2 spots ahead of ASU's Ike Davis that year. And traded by the Brewers to the Blue Jays for Sean Markham when Milwaukee was really desperate for a pitcher to try and put them over the top. And now here's Laurie, already their everyday star at 23 years old.
Had a chance to see Laurie in the minor leagues a couple of different stops when he was a member of the Brewers organization. It was obvious that this guy had some serious tools and the ability to be a really good player, but man, did he rub the opposition the wrong way. I mean, that zest for the game, that energy that he has can occasionally come off as arrogance and showing up the other team, much like Bryce Harper got a bad rep, I feel, coming into the major leagues because of the way he played the game.
He's definitely one of those guys, the Pedroia type. Adam Eaton's got a little bit of that in him, too. They get under your skin, and it's just kind of part of the deal. 3-1. It's fouling off pitch after pitch against John Shearer, and it's full 3-2. Another part of Laurie's game is he plays full speed all the time, and on that turf in Toronto, durability and injury issues are a concern. He missed all of June and a lot of July this season with a bad ankle sprain. Had to sit out 41 games. And Encarnacion not being held on by Paul Goldschmidt at first. 3-2, 2 outs. He'll be off with a pitch. Goldie playing behind the runner. Driven to right center field, Gerardo Parra. They strand the 2-out walk. We head to the bottom of the 4th here at Chase Field. The Diamondbacks trail the Blue Jays 5-0. BMO Harris Bank, the very definition of at your service. And by Fulton Homes. You're proud to own, we're proud to build. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix, set for the home half of the fourth, and the Diamondbacks still looking for their first base hit against Todd Redmond, who has retired all 9 he's faced so far, and it's the top of the order up here in the bottom of the fourth. Adam Eaton, A.J. Pollock, and Paul Goldschmidt. Diamondbacks trailing 5-0 here. They've been out hit 8-zip. Drives that one to right center field, and it's gone. Adam Spanky Eaton has the Diamondbacks' first hit tonight. That's his 3rd home run of the year, and the D-backs are on the board. And that's a Fulton home run. Another $150 goes to Central Arizona Mountain Rescue. A line drive home run for Adam Spanky Eaton to lead it off here in the fourth.
Hopefully that'll break the seal on the offense. Eaton with a line drive to that gap in right center. Wasn't quite sure it was high enough to get out of here, but just does sneak over the fence in front of the RamTrucks.com pool.
Still lots of time for the Diamondbacks here. 5-1 now. A.J. Pollock grounded out his first time. Rolled to short. Reyes the backhander. Plants that back foot and throws him out. One away. Fun times at the RamTrucks.com pool area, where you never know when a ball is going to come flying at you. All you can eat section, self-explanatory. Mustard on a hot dog, I like it. Fundamentally sound. A little thing of onions in there. Good. This guy's right in my wheelhouse. Here's Goldie, grounded to third his first time. That's it for me. The diced onions and the mustard. That's the hot dog. I like it. Thumbs up from Dennis Lamb in the booth. Reyes one more time. Slow roller by Goldie. Encarnacion can't pick it up at first, and Goldie's aboard. It was a very slow roller, and Reyes kind of took his time there.
Yeah, I think Reyes was a little surprised at how quickly Paul Goldschmidt was getting down that first baseline. It kind of looked like he wanted to take his time and then rushed his throw, spikes it in the dirt to Encarnacion. You could see him immediately take that first base glove off. That ball hit him somewhere bad on the left hand. Looks like up near the wrist, the heel of the hand, possibly.
E6, Goldschmidt aboard. One out. Here's Martin Prado. Struck out looking his first time on a close call by Greg Gibson. At least Martin thought so.
That's why you run them out hard. I mean, drawing near the end of a long 6-month baseball season, 162 regular season games, and Paul Goldschmidt still busting it down that first baseline on a routine ground ball to shortstop. Forced Reyes to hurry his throw, and he's able to reach.
0-1. Redmond ahead 0-2. Martin Prado batting .385 over a 9-game hit streak. He was 1 for 3 yesterday. Trying to stretch that streak to 10. Knocks it into right. Goldie will take the turn and hit for third. He'll make it. 10-game hit streak for Martin Prado. First and third, one out for the Diamondbacks.
Talk all the time about defensive 2-strike swings. Look at that by Martin Prado. Just a little bit of a rock of his body weight onto his front foot, kept his hands back and just slashed that ball into right field. Goldie turns the corner at second. He'll chug on into third base. Keep the line moving.
Goldie at third, Prado at first. One out, Aaron Hill, former Blue Jays great. Back in the lineup after getting a day off yesterday. Ambushes the first pitch, right to Lurie. 5, 4, 3. They roll it. And that's the inning, but the Diamondbacks get one on Adam Eaton's third home run of the year. We are through 4. It's 5-1 Toronto. on sale right now. Enjoy exclusive benefits, a flexible 12-month payment option, and a plan that's just right for you. You can check out half-season or a weekend plan, and if you don't want to miss a single moment, go all in with full season tickets. So buy or renew right now for 2014. 602-462-4600. Or log on to dbacks.com/tickets. All kinds of benefits to becoming a Diamondback season ticket holder. No waiting in line for bobbleheads, early entry into Chase Field, watch some batting practice, all kinds of exclusive events, giveaways, prizes. So join us at Chase Field in 2014. Pick a plan that's right for you. There's also that flexible 12-month plan you can pay out over the course of the year. Mark DeRosa leads off the 5th against Josh Colmenter. DeRosa, Arancibia, Sierra, 5, 6, and 7. All right, it's got a Sun Devil apron on and a giant banner hanging in the back. What's the deal with that?
Nice artwork.
That is nice. Zips. Just figured he'd do a sketch and then hang it up at the ballpark.
Why not? An art gallery, among other things.
Line to left. Base hit for DeRosa to lead off the 5th. That's 9 hits for the Blue Jays.
Well, we were talking earlier about Mark DeRosa and his versatility. He's been a utility guy pretty much his whole career. You look at his starts, or rather his games played: 362 at third base, 341 at second base, 140 at shortstop, 89 in left field, 167 in right field, and 47 at first base. That is the very definition of a utility man.
Good athlete, Ivy League guy, played quarterback at Penn. 7th round pick by the Braves way back in '96.
I had a chance to watch Mark DeRosa in his time as a member of the Chicago Cubs, and he played a lot of right field for the Cubs, and he is a really good right fielder. As you can imagine, being a quarterback in college, he's got a cannon for a throwing arm.
And speaking of college, congratulations to Paul Goldschmidt, who is a graduate now, University of Phoenix. Diamondbacks announced that today. Goldie finishing up his degree, which is just remarkable when you consider that everything Goldie has done over the course of this year. With all, he's an MVP candidate, maybe the front runner. Well, today he officially graduated from the University of Phoenix with a Bachelor's of Science degree in management. Goldie said, always something I wanted to get done. He said, University of Phoenix is the way to go, especially for a ball player during the baseball season. Goldie, of course, played at Texas State. Drafted by the Diamondbacks in the 8th round back in 2009. He played 3 seasons there, so he still had some work to do. And over the course of this season, it's funny, we'll get in a new city, we'll arrive at a new place. A lot of the players will check into the hotel, go out to dinner, and you can see possibly the National League MVP all by himself in the hotel lobby with headphones on, huddled over his laptop computer, taking his collegiate coursework.
How about that?
That's the kind of guy that he is, and it's been something to watch him play, and also behind the scenes and watch all the work that Paul puts into that. Jody Jackson has more on that, in fact. Jody.
Well, yeah, Steve, you mentioned the discipline it takes to not relax on the plane or maybe in the hotel, but go and do your work and get the computer out. Well, I asked Paul about how it took him so much discipline to be able to do that, and he said, I just didn't see it any other way. I set the time aside and I did it, and so he's got the same kind of work ethic in the classroom as we see on the baseball field. But he did say that it was nice on the last road trip, the flight back from the East Coast. He was all done with his work, so he ate and took a nap. So Goldie, I guess, was finally relaxing on the plane, guys.
That's how Goldie celebrates.
That's how he rolls, yeah.
That one is driven to left. Here comes Spanky. Tracks it down in the gap. And DeRosa hustles back to the bag. The throw gets away. And he'll get second base. Nice job by Adam Eaton to come in on that one and track it down.
I think that's going to have to go as another E7 on Adam Eaton. He got a tough error earlier in the ball game when the ball got by Miguel Montero. This is another tough error. DeRosa going back into first base. That ball actually deflected off his back, got away from Goldie, went into that first base dugout, allowing DeRosa to get to his feet and advance on to second. Somebody's got to be backing that play up. Josh Colementor caught spectating out on the mound, and Miguel Montero as well, just kind of watching from behind home plate. When you see that start to develop, you got to start drifting that direction just in case there is a play.
So it's a fly out 7 and an E7. DeRosa at third now, 1 out. Moises Sierra. And now Miguel Montero will have to be doubly careful blocking those balls in the dirt with DeRosa on third. Driven to left, Adam Eaton backing up. It's off the glove. DeRosa scores, and Sierra stops at second. 6-1 Blue Jays.
Fastball on the inside corner of the plate, down a little bit, just golfed it toward left field. Adam Eaton actually got a glove on that ball, but as he tried to brace himself against the wall out there, he just didn't finish the catch. Ball hits off his glove, ricochets back. Fortunately, A.J. Pollock hustled over to pick it up and hold Sierra to a double.
Goes as a double and an RBI. Here comes Charles Nagy. That's now 10 hits for Toronto, 2 for the Diamondbacks. Phone was ringing in the bullpen earlier, and the bullpen is busy for the Diamondbacks. Jazz Rowe warming up. Take this time to remind you that FoxSportsArizona.com has all your online local sports coverage that you can't find anywhere else. Lots of stories on that one. Jack Magruder working on his game story. He'll have post-game analysis for you. News on ASU quarterback Taylor Kelly. Check it all out right now. FoxSportsArizona.com. Kevin Pillar steps in. Those look good.
Well, that is an apple. That's technically healthy.
Oh, it's a key to a balanced diet.
Even though it's smothered in caramel.
Fruit intake, critical. Kevin Pillar doubled and scored back in the second. He's 1 for 2. Shoots it down the line and just by Jerry Lane, the crew chief. Kevin Pillar is a guy that has skyrocketed through the Blue Jays system. It was a 32nd round pick just 2 years ago. Hit over 320 through A ball last year, and this year between AA and AAA hit over 300 with 9 homers. And so less than 2 years after he was picked in the 32nd round, here he is in the big leagues. Funny, we're just talking about Redmond and how he labored through 7 years of the minor leagues to make 1 big league start last year. And here's a guy, Pillar, who has a shot through their system.
I think that's a good pitch for Josh Colementor. Every so often, just fling one up there about head high. Ideally, he wants to keep the ball down in the zone, get that real good downward plane going from that straight over the top delivery. But every now and then, just to change the eye level, give the hitter something to think about, just buzz the tower a little bit.
Little flare and a short right. Parra. 2 outs. Sierra holds at second. There's Todd Redmond. The pitcher has walked and scored and struck out 0 for 1.
Pitcher Todd Redmond.
Colementor already knocking on 60 pitches here in relief. Should point out it's Gonzo's birthday today. So happy birthday, Gonzo. He's a spry 46. Slow roller to Aaron Hill. The former Blue Jay is there, and Colementor is out of the 5th. But the Blue Jays add a run. They lead at 6-1. Happy birthday, Gonzo. $20,000 fans will get the Miguel Montero bobblehead. It's courtesy of our friends at Subway. And get there early. There is a free D-Back Street Festival presented by APS before the game. We'll have music, food trucks, lucha libre wrestling, the whole thing. And the Miggy bobblehead. So get your tickets now, 602-462-4600. Or log on to dbacks.com/tickets. Our Miggy bobblehead is already perched. It's a space of honor here at our TV booth. It's a good-looking bobblehead.
Looking out over the crowd here at Chase Field tonight, watching Miggy make his way to the plate.
I think this one will have to make the trip, too, to San Francisco and L.A. So we'll tweet out some picturesque shots of the Miggy bobblehead. Maybe take him out to Alcatraz or something. Down by the wharf, eating some crabs. On the cable cars, the whole thing. Miggy struck out back in the second, 0 for 1. Diamondbacks have been out hit 10-2. They trail at 6-1. Drives that one to right. Base hit for Miggy.
I got a feeling, partner, anytime the D-backs score 6 or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Boy, he can make swings that just look so good. Just head down, jumps on it, drives it into right. Back in the lineup today after a day off of the series opener.
Well, they could sure use his bat in the final month here of the season. Left-handed bat to kind of balance out the lineup a little bit.
And he could really use it, I'm sure, for his own peace of mind after a difficult year, on and off. Hara fights that one off down the left field line, and that's foul. Aaron Lebovic pouncing on that one.
Sorry, partner, you mentioned Gonzo's birthday today, and as usual, we like to look at other celebrities who were born on this day. And a big baseball fan, Charlie Sheen, was born on this day.
Yeah, he's a huge fan.
U of A softball pitcher and the wife of Casey Daigle, Jenny Finch, was born on this day. A lot of years after Gonzo. And for those of us of a certain age, Valerie Perrine.
Wasn't Valerie Perrine, wasn't she a Catwoman?
I think she was, yeah. Or
I know she was in the first Superman.
Yeah, she was in some of those superhero type movies.
Miss Tessmacher. Gene Hackman was always yelling at her in the first Superman. I always like the way you compile those lists. It's people from all walks of life. You never know.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen was actually here at Chase Field at a game earlier this season.
Drives that one to the gap in right center field. Davis! Wow, what a catch. Montero back to first. Rajai Davis deep in the corner by the pool.
Boy, that's robbery. Outfielders that can run love to play in ballparks with big gaps. I don't know if I would quite consider this a ballpark with big gaps, but Rajai Davis really let it out that time. Long way to go. Manages to make that catch on the dead run right in front of the pool.
Gerardo Parra gave it a rod, but it's allowed out number one. And here's Didi. Popped up his first time. Gonzo and Valerie Perrine.
I'm being told she was in the movie Lenny. She was in Cannonball Run.
Everybody was in those.
A lot
movies.
of big
Remember
hits.
Those Cannonball Run movies.
Oh yeah,
made like 9 of them. Dom DeLuise.
Yeah.
Always getting run over or something. Mickey bobblehead just went down in the booth. I need to build in the off season. I'm going to have our unreliable staff build a little platform for the bobbleheads.
Pedestal.
Yeah, put some lighting on there. He just still think he looks like Mickey Dolenz.
He just kind of went over backwards there and landed on your scorecard.
Look at this. Look who's on deck. We'll hit for the pitcher. Chris Owings in his major league debut. And the bobblehead is unharmed. Proud to report. Didi drives that one to right. Sierra at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. A home run. Didi Gregorius, his 6th, and the Diamondbacks are knocking it on the door, trying to get back in this thing. It's a 6-3 ball game. That's another Fulton home run and another $150 to Central Arizona Mountain Rescue.
Coming into this game, Redmond had given up 8 home runs in 52 innings. 2 here tonight. Didi goes down and golfs one out of here to right field.
So right now it is the major league debut of one of the prize of prospects in the Diamondback system. This is the first major league at bat for Chris Owings. This year, Chris, 2013 Pacific Coast League MVP and Rookie of the Year. He hit .330 for the Reno Aces.
And finished on a strong note. Their final game on Monday night against Salt Lake. Chris Owings went 3 for 6, drove in a couple runs, got his final season average up to .330.
Won't quite get through. DeRosa's there, and he throws him out, 2 down. We'll make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. First big league at bat for Chris Owings, and you were right, Bob. They found a way to work him in. They said they had a spot. Let's get the kid in there.
You know, and we haven't seen a lot of lopsided games one way or the other for the D-backs this year. But should they find themselves way ahead or way behind in a ball game, I would imagine Gibby will make every effort to get Chris Owings in there, get his feet underneath him defensively as well.
Here's Adam Eaton, the leadoff man who homered his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Diamondbacks back in the ball game here, 6-3. By the way, we have rectified the bobblehead situation in the booth. We've now built this lovely perch for the bobbleheads. And there's a good look at the Miggy bobblehead right here.
With a usually highly unreliable staff up here in the booth, really came through.
Emphasis on highly. The unreliable staff does not like to be named. He's a guy behind the guy type. Adam Eaton ahead 3-0. This is Adam Eaton's 18th start in the leadoff spot this season. He's hitting just under 300 as the leadoff man this year. On base percentage of .390. It's that in the air to left. It backs up Pilar. But the Diamondbacks have cut the lead in half. It's a 6-3 ball game through 5. Didi Gregorius, his 6th of the season, as the Diamondbacks back in it at Chase Field.
By Ram Trucks, proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And by Jack in the Box, go big at a participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big chicken sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax.
RamTrucks.com pool area here at Chase Field, where it's a brand new ball game as we start the 6th. Diamondbacks down 6-3. Louisville slugger.
That's either some bad ink or his name is Lewis.
Kind of looks like Adam Eaton. Hopefully that's not permanent. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Chaz Rowe. His 10th appearance this year. He has held the opposition scoreless in 4 of his last 5 games. He'll work to Jose Reyes, Rajai Davis, and Edwin Encarnacion, the top of the order for the Blue Jays here in the 6th. Diamondbacks have a couple of home runs tonight. Adam Eaton in the 4th, a solo shot. Didi Gregorius in the 5th, a 2-run shot. And they trail at 6-3. No diving. To keep things safe out there in the RamTrucks.com pool area. Security there. Pardon us. Excuse me. Thank you. Base hit. Reyes is 3 for 4. Chaz Rowe looks like he was in Pickett's charge with that facial here, didn't he?
It's been evolving as the season has gone on. We've seen him with a very full beard. He's shaved it down into this modified, exaggerated goatee. Fun with facial hair.
Rajay Davis, long 2-run homer back in the second. Some have more fun than others. Looks like Jeb Stewart. Davis has homered and struck out twice, so it's been feast or famine. Made a tremendous catch deep in the corner and right center in the last half inning. This was Rajay Davis in the second, and he did not get cheated. That was the 20th home run allowed this year by Wade Miley. There goes Reyes. Here's the throw from his knees. Miggy can't throw him out. And Reyes has a stolen base, his 13th this year.
Well, undoubtedly, you get rid of the ball quicker throwing from your knees like Miguel Montero does on this play, but you just can't get as much on the throw. Another short hop down there to Aaron Hill. Reyes in with a very awkward looking slide, but a big jump at first.
So Reyes in scoring position, 0-2 to Rajay Davis. And there's the strikeout, one away in the sixth. Davis has struck out 3 times.
Yeah, he'll tell you that's what power hitters do. Strike out and hit homers. 3 punch outs, 1 2-run bomb so far in the game for Davis.
Well, you mentioned power hitters, and here's Edwin Encarnacion. He had shown some power earlier in his career, and they're going to walk him here with first base open. Don't want this to become 8-3 with 1 pitch. Encarnacion was a 26 homer guy in 08 with the Reds, 21 homers in 2010 as a Blue Jay, but his power surge at this level is pretty recent. 2 years ago, he played over 130 games and hit 17 homers, and suddenly last year, at the age of 29, he belted 42. And he's got 35 this year.
Similar career arc to Jose Bautista, who, had some pop in his bat, hit some home runs in his career, but seems to have found a home up there north of the border. Turned into a legitimate potential league-leading home run hitter.
Often you see guys get intentionally walked in the 6th inning of ball games. Neil Wagner was throwing for the Blue Jays.
Boy, with the expanded rosters, you need to make a reservation in those bullpens to get a chair.
Brett Lawrie, 2 for 3, a pair of RBI singles.
Blue Jays have 13 relief pitchers available tonight, plus backup catcher, bullpen coach. Standing room only.
Where do you stand on September call-ups? Because a lot of people say, you play the whole season one way, 25 guys, and all of a sudden when the games matter most, you can have 50 guys back there.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I think you should have to pick your 25-man roster. I mean, call up as many players as you want, but only 25 guys are available each night.
So you could kind of have a taxi squad every game.
Yeah.
Or maybe go, some people have suggested, well, go 27. There's all kinds of little ways to fudge it, but yeah, you can have a whole army of guys back there. Gets away from Miggy, and the runners will move up. Reyes to third, Encarnacion to second.
Sharp late breaking slider from Chaz Rowe that time. Miggy just didn't get the glove out there in a good position. Kicks off the webbing, allowing both runners to move up into scoring position. That'll be a pass ball. Toby's
zooming in there. Toby gets to hear all the trash talking that Gerardo Parra does to the opponent bullpen. That's one of the best spots at the ballpark. Because every time there's a foul ball over there, Parra will go fetch it, and then he'd find him just jawing back and forth with the guys in the opponent bullpen. There's Toby in the far right of your picture. He also has Mitch Riggin in his ear the entire game, so there's good news and bad news.
We know how that feels.
Rowe strikes out. Laurie, his second strikeout in the inning. 2 down now. And here's DeRosa.
Second baseman, Mark DeRosa.
Another good slider. This time Miggy shifts his entire weight to get out there in front of that one. Yeah, our camera guys and gals have done such a great job all season long. And they're right on top of it. They're baseball fans first and foremost, which is why they're so good at what they do.
They know what they're doing. You got to know what to look for. Can't just show up, and our crew knows baseball. DeRosa has walked, single, and scored a run. That didn't sound like it was fun.
Well, you caught him right square in the bird cage that time. Slider, center cut on the plate, center cut on the mask.
Chaz Rowe ahead 0-2. Trying to strand Reyes at third and Encarnacion at second. Keep this a 3-run ball game. Did he go? Yes, he went. Ring him up and sit him down. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Chaz Rowe. And Kurt Gibson walked Encarnacion intentionally. It worked. It's still a 3-run game. Here's tomorrow, Fox Sports 1, kicking off with UFC Fight Night, followed by the season opener of The Ultimate Fighter. UFC Wednesday begins at 1 o'clock with the UFC Fight Night pre-fight show, only on Fox Sports 1. New pitcher for the Blue Jays. This is the right-hander, Neil Wagner, the pride of North Dakota State University, out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. He'll work to A.J. Pollock, Paul Goldschmidt, and Martin Prado, 2, 3, and 4. Numbers on Neil Wagner. He has recorded 20 strikeouts in his last 19 innings. His 31st appearance of the year. Allen fouls that one away. Finally in the big leagues at the age of 29. He pitched 6 games 2 years ago as a 27-year-old with the Oakland A's. But this is his first extended big league experience. Ryan Goins takes over for DeRosa at second base. That one gets down in center, and A.J. Pollock's aboard to lead off the 6th. Mentioned that Neil Wagner is a North Dakota State Bison. They just upset Kansas State on Fox Sports 1 over the weekend.
Well, that couldn't have made it. Well, that made him very happy. Yeah. I was on the wrong side of the field there, I guess. Wagner, a fastball slider change-up combination.
Here's Goldie. Goldie has grounded out and reached on an error.
Coming in hot that time, 97 with that first fastball to Goldie.
How about this? Goldie has walked 13 times in his last 8 games. He's got a .463 on base percentage, despite the fact that during that span he's hitting under .220. That kicks away from Aaron Sebia, and Pollock goes to second. We mentioned this the other day that Goldie's just not getting anything to hit, and now that first base is open, he might not hear.
If you looked at the spray chart on the pitches that Goldie has seen over the last couple of weeks, probably 9 out of 10 are on the outside corner of the plate or farther away. Teams are just not willing to give in. When they do throw a fastball inside, it's normally for effect, trying to push him off the plate and then go right back away again.
His last home run was August 20th. That's 11 games and 42 at-bats now without a home run. He's ahead 2-0. Goldie 0 for 3 with a walk in yesterday's series opener.
Now this is where that computer in your mind starts racing a little bit. He saw a 2-0 slider for a called strike. Now the count goes to 3-1 again. Will Wagner be willing to challenge with a fastball with a base open or go back to the breaking ball again? There's your answer. Through another slider. And we talk all the time about predictable fastball counts, and I'm not so sure there are many predictable fastball counts anymore, but 2-0 and 3-1 are normally a count that you can book you're going to get something good to hit. That time it was a slider.
3-2. Ball 4. He walks again. And the Diamondbacks, with no outs in the 6th, have the tying run at the plate. Here comes Martin Prado.
I think it speaks to how hot Martin Prado has been, and the fact the Blue Jays are well aware of that they didn't just walk Goldie intentionally in that situation. Granted, they pitched him very carefully, and they didn't really mind if they walked him, but earlier this season when Martin Prado was struggling and hitting behind Goldie, they may have just intentionally walked Paul Goldschmidt and gone after Prado, but now they got to deal with Martin Prado, who's been one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball.
Hitting .367 since the All-Star break. 38 RBIs in 40 games so far in the second half, and he's up in an RBI spot here behind 0-1. Hard into the Blue Jay dugout. It's 0-2. The field's over there. Most guys down 0-2, you'd pretty much say, okay, that's probably it, but not with Martin Prado.
His base hit back in the 4th inning came on an 0-2 pitch. He'll cross up that time. Aaron Sebia on his way out to the mound to talk to Wagner. anytime you see that catcher immediately come up out of his crouch and start jogging out to the mound after awkwardly receiving a pitch, that's a sure sign of a cross-up.
On the ground is short. Reyes. Goins. They roll the double play. Pollock to third, 2 outs.
Second baseman, Aaron Hill.
Second double play the Diamondbacks have grounded into in the ball game here tonight after 4 last night. Kurt Gibson was talking about that in some of his post-game comments. Wasn't real happy with some of the at-bats that he saw leading to those double plays.
Aaron Hill hit into a double play his last time up. He's 0 for 2. And the thing about this homestand that has been the issue is we've seen guys like, look, no offense, but Robbie Erlin and Yusmeiro Petit. And last night, Esmail Rogers come in here and really pitch well in games the Diamondbacks really needed here at home. And Gibby was a little upset about that after the game yesterday.
Not only did he say they can't all be Cy Young, and then he went on to say sometimes you have to beat Cy Young. You know, occasionally you've got to go out there and do something against the best pitchers in the game. You expect to do something against some of the names that you mentioned right there.
That gets, Laurie pounces on it and throws him out. Brett Laurie saves a run and ends the inning for the Blue Jays. It was about to get through, and Laurie came in and snuffed out a run. It stays 6-3. Favorite all-time women's gymnast. And of course we asked this because Olga Korbut, the hero of the 72 Olympics, threw out the first pitch tonight. 38% say Mary Lou Retton. All-American girl. There is Olga Korbut. So picture her on the balance beam. Jim McKay, 72. Munich. What we got there? Got out by the pool. Yeah, out by the pool, ramtrucks.com pool, some snacks. Oh, what's that guy's jersey? David Hernandez on to pitch the 7th, back up from Reno. JP Arencibia leads it off. He's 0 for 3. This could be a big month for David Hernandez, BB, to try and sort of regain his footing at the major league level after 2 absolutely dominant seasons the last 2 years. And it kind of went south for David early this year, and he was never able to recover.
Yeah, a little like we were talking about Miguel Montero earlier. You know, the last month of the season for a lot of teams, just playing out the string, trying to add to your own personal numbers going into the offseason. But for other guys, it's a chance to reestablish your place on the totem pole.
One out in the 7th. That last half inning really hurt the Diamondbacks. Down 3. They had first and second, no outs. Martin Prado and Aaron Hill coming up, and they were not able to get anything. As Prado hit into a double play, and Brett Laurie robbed Aaron Hill of an RBI and kept it a 6-3 ball game. Moises Sierra, RBI double his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Right to Greg Schulte. He missed it. In defense of the Governor, it did fall probably 3 feet shy of the radio booth, but hit right there on the 6:20 a.m. side. Knock on his window. Look, I can't. I'm trying to distract him. Hey, he's look, go away. Hey,
nosy neighbors.
What happened?
I was waiting for Leo to come again.
Depending on Leo, that's where he went wrong.
Yeah, that's a bad game plan right away.
There's Leo Gilmartin running things with little finger quotes.
Once that ball comes right in, right?
Well, we know BB would drop it. He makes a lot of errors
Oh,
over there.
whoa, whoa.
Jeez.
Whoa. Tom Candiotti.
When you're down there.
Candy's the guy that sits at the back of the bus and just causes trouble.
Oh, yeah. Same thing in the booth, I'm sure.
6-3.
Leo's the problem is Leo. He's got to get control of that group. Slipping through his fingers. Base hit. Down the line and right, and Sierra's on the run. He'll take the turn. Parra picks it up. And Moises Sierra has his second double in 2 at-bats.
Gerardo Parra replacing his divot out there on the right field line. That was worth a shot. He went into a slide right at the very tail end of the play. Tried to come up with that ball with the bare hand, plant the left foot, and then fire to second base. But unfortunately, the ball just skipped away there at the last instant. No play at second base.
12 hits now for the Blue Jays. Here's Kevin Pillar, who doubled and scored in the second. He's 1 for 3. There's a strike, 0-1. Kevin Pillar from Cal State Dominguez Hills. 32nd round pick 2 years ago. Good fastball there for David. It's 0-2. Locating down and away. Kurt Schilling used to tell me that all the time. The best pitch I could possibly throw in any situation is a fastball down and away.
And he could spot that corner at the knees as good as any pitcher in the game during his heyday. There's the thing about Schill. He rarely pitched inside. I mean, he would come in for effect from time to time, and in that 2001 World Series, we felt the best plan of attack against Derek Jeter was to try to make him uncomfortable inside, which in turn made Kurt uncomfortable on the mound because that just wasn't what he liked to do on the mound, but he did it. He actually thumped Derek Jeter with a pitch inside in game 1, and I think it really set up the rest of the series. Even though Jeter had some big hits for him in the next 6 games, I think the fact that Schill was able to go away from his game plan to do what we felt we had to do against Derek Jeter, I think it really kind of set the tone for the entire series. But you're absolutely right. You could sit out there. Damian Miller used to just plop himself out on that outside corner, put the catcher's mitt right at the knees, and Schill would just hit it all night long.
Pillar chases that one. Miggy with an eye on Sierra at second, throws him out. And Goins will come up. He's hitting in the pitcher's spot. Came into the game at second base. Interesting call here from Miggy here, Bob. He's got to watch the runner at second and still complete the strikeout.
Yeah, that guy at second base will try to come off the bag as you move further and further down that first baseline. Occasionally, if you get a hyper-aggressive base runner, you can turn your back to him, fake that throw to first base, and then try to get him hung up between second and third. But Miggy did the right thing. Make sure you get an out.
Ryan Goins, we saw him get the start yesterday in the series opener. Popped him up. This one's coming at us, Bob Brenly.
bounce.
Just shy. Nothing from those guys.
No, of course not.
Joe Borowski just watching. Get in the game, Borowski. 0-1. Goins was 1 for 4 yesterday. He singled and scored a run in the 9th. Came in on the Encarnacion home run. Nice pitch there by Hernandez inside for the strike. 0-2. It's funny you say that about Curt Schilling pitching inside, because you think of Curtis, not a confrontational guy per se, but certainly aggressive and attacking guy. You wouldn't think that would be an issue. Competitor.
He just knew his own strengths. He knew he could dot that outside corner whenever he wanted to, so why mess around, make a mistake on the inside part of the plate where you might get beat with a long ball, force him to get 2 or 3 hits to score a run.
Sierra on second after a 1-out double. 2 outs, 0-2 to Ryan Goins. That one is knocked down by Goldie on a pretty backhand stop. Hernandez covers, and they get the outs. Paul Goldschmidt, a gold glove perhaps. Throw that in with the MVP. Goldie ends the top of the 7th. Keeps it a 6-3 ball game. Joe Borowski joins us when we come back. Bob Brunley along the way. Joe, a quick night here for Wade Miley. What happened?
I often talk about a starting pitcher. You're going to have 5 games where you have unbelievable stuff that you can put it anywhere you want. You're also going to have about 5 games where you shouldn't even be out there, and that was one of the nights. He just had command of nothing. His slider disappeared on him tonight. Couldn't locate his fastball. Constantly behind guys. Threw 59 pitches, and almost half of them were balls. He just was not on tonight.
Miggy hits a high, deep pop up near the pool, and that ball is gone! Miguel Montero, his 10th, and it's a 2-run ball game. And Bob, you've talked about how sometimes here lately that ball is carrying out to right center, and that one took a ride for a Fulton home run. Another $150 to Central Arizona Mountain Rescue.
Well, we know there's no wind blowing inside the stadium when it's all closed up like this, but it just seems like the ball is really carrying well to right center and straightaway right field here recently. Blue Jays fan makes the catch out there. That ball was blasted.
So Miggy's 2 for 3. He singled and scored in the 5th. Now a homer to open the 7th, his 10th of the year, and it's conference time. Pete Walker out there for the Blue Jays.
Only the Baltimore Orioles have surrendered more home runs in the majors this year than this Toronto Blue Jay staff. That was number 171 on the season. Baltimore with 173.
And 3 tonight for the Diamondbacks. Adam Eaton in the 4th, Didi Gregorius in the 5th, and now Miguel Montero to lead off the 7th. It's a 6-4 game. Here's Gerardo Parra. And Joe?
I'm like gasoline.
Instant offense.
I'm like gasoline. Throw it on the fire.
Nice. We'll get it back to Wade Miley just for a second. It's funny how sometimes you'll hear pitchers say after the game, I just didn't have my slider tonight. I didn't have my curveball, or I didn't have that bite on the changeup, or whatever it might be. Jose Reyes! Parra's aboard. Tying run to the plate for the Diamondbacks. Why do pitches come and go like that for guys? I guess if you knew the answer, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, precisely. It's one of those things. He could have felt good coming out of the pen, warming up for the game, and when he stepped on the mound, he just couldn't get a good feel for his pitches, whether he was getting on the side of the ball or he was just overcompensating on his slider. Those are things that he'll have to review and see what exactly went wrong for him tonight.
The veteran Darren Oliver is coming in. John Gibbons to the mound. Pitching change in the 7th. The Diamondbacks are threatening with a tying run at the plate and nobody out. Are you aware of the Joe Borowski fan club?
I was not sure of that. I know it's simply because I'm no longer in baseball, but I'm getting runs for the Diamondbacks, I guess, in the 7th inning. But if I was giving them up, that would read something totally different.
All right, new spot here for the Blue Jays, trying to hold on to their lead. The veteran Darren Oliver is on at the age of 42. He'll turn 43 in October. He is the 2nd oldest player in the major leagues, behind only Mariano Rivera. And Kirk Gibson has gone to his bench. We mentioned all the guys who were called up now that Reno's season is winding down. Matt Davidson is in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for the pitcher. And Willie Bloomquist will hit for Didi Gregorius. So John Gibbons goes to his lefty to face the lefty Gregorius, and Kirk Gibson counters with the right-handed Willie Bloomquist. And Davidson on deck. He'll hit for the pitcher. There's a strike. Tying run at the plate. Nobody out in the 7th. One and one. Darren Oliver. Oof. A 3rd round pick by the Rangers in the 1988 draft.
Made his big league debut in 1993. I was managing here for the Diamondbacks, Joe Garagiola Jr. was the general manager. I can vividly recall even in the 0-1 season, the 0-2 season, the 0-3 season, Joe was constantly watching the waiver wire, who's available. He must have asked me a dozen times, how do you like Darren Oliver? He's out there.
Reyes, Goins, Encarnacion, they turn 2. That's the third double play turn tonight by the Blue Jays.
7 in 2 games. Another tailor-made ground ball right to Reyes on the Goins. And Encarnacion to complete the double play.
And here's Matt Davidson. He'll hit for the pitcher.
It's just been pointed out to me. We mentioned Darren Oliver made his major league debut in 1993. Bryce Harper was born in 1992.
We're all getting old.
Not Darren Oliver. He just keeps plugging along. Left-hander that stays healthy, throws strikes.
Fists it into shallow center, but Davis is there, and that's the inning. Joe, you got us one. Nice work.
Let's get a couple more.
See you on Diamondbacks Live after the game. It's a 2-run ball game through 7. Finale tomorrow afternoon, a day game at Chase Field. Pre-game show comes your way on Fox Sports Arizona at noon. It'll be Mark Buehrle versus Randall Delgado. And then it's off to San Francisco and Los Angeles for the Diamondbacks. Second to last road trip of the year. Will Harris is on to start the 8th for the Diamondbacks. He's the 5th pitcher tonight after Wade Miley went only 1 2/3.
Yeah, nice job so far tonight by the D-backs bullpen. After Wade Miley imploded after an inning and 2/3, the bullpen has eaten up 5 1/3, given up only 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 7. The 1 run was unearned due to one of the errors in left field by Adam Eaton.
Jose Reyes 3 for 4, 3 singles. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. He's also stolen a base. So a busy night for Reyes, who's made some terrific plays and been involved in several double plays. So it's been very busy for Reyes, who's up to 294. Look out.
That ball was in Miguel Montero's mitt before Reyes reacted and fell to the ground.
That was like a soccer dive. Willie Bloomquist, who hit for Didi Gregorius in the 7th, stays in the game at shortstop. When Reyes won the batting title, that's a good question for you. A couple of years ago, he's in contention for the batting title. Last day of the season, 337, comes up and bunts. And that, for whatever mathematical reason, locked it up. He knew if he had one hit, he would win the batting title, so he came up and bunted.
I don't really have an issue with that because that's what Reyes does. He bunts for base hits all season long if the opportunity is there and the corner infielders are playing back. That's a big part of his offense. I don't really have that much of an issue, but didn't he take himself out of the game immediately after the hit?
Yeah, that was
Now
it.
that I have a little issue with.
It was one and done.
Yeah.
Get in there, get your almost guaranteed hit to lead it off with a bunt, and then good night, Irene. He said he did it for the Met fans. He wanted the Met fans to have something in the batting title. Something for them to keep warm over their long winter. Paul Goldschmidt.
It was a Ted Williams at the end of one season. They had a doubleheader in
1941.
Had a small lead over whoever was second in the league in hitting.
He was at 399.99, which the manager Joe Cronin figured out you could round off to 400. And they had a doubleheader in Philadelphia. He walked all over the city the night before with the equipment man, Vinny Orlando, and because Cronin had said you can sit out and they'll round it off and you'll be a 400 hitter. Williams said, no, I'm a 400 hitter all the way or I'm not. So he played both games. The doubleheader, went 6 for 8.
There you go.
Finished at 406.
That's the model for how you win a batting title. Of course, you'll never be able to take it away from Jose Reyes, regardless of how he got it.
Ted Williams had 406 that year and was not the AL MVP.
Ooh.
Joe DiMaggio, who hit in 56 straight that year, won it.
Is that all?
There's the strikeout.
Hey fans, MLB.com At Bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers D-backs baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, highlights, and more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit dbacks.com for details.
Rajay Davis has struck out 4 times today and homered. 2 down now. Encarnacion. He's 2 for 2. A single, a double. He scored a run. He's walked twice. The last time intentionally, which worked out very well for Kirk Gibson. He walked Encarnacion, and then Chaz Rowe struck out Laurie and DeRosa to end the inning. Ted Williams played in 1 World Series, 1946, and hit 200. The greatest disappointment of his career, he said. The funny thing about that is the Red Sox had wrapped it up and they were going to play in the World Series. There's a long delay before they actually played the Cardinals in that series. So they got together a group of American League All-Stars and they played a bunch of exhibition games to kind of keep the Red Sox sharp before the series so they wouldn't have this long layoff sitting around doing nothing. And in that series, Williams kind of crashed into the wall and hurt his elbow. And so when he got to the World Series, he wasn't 100% and did not have a good series, and the Cardinals 1-7. Edwin Encarnacion gone. An absolute moonshot for his 36th. He hit a long one here yesterday. He hit an even longer one here tonight. And it's 7-4.
I talked about it coming into this series. Jose Bautista on the disabled list, but he's right out of the same mold as Edwin Encarnacion. Guys will tell you, I don't try to hit home runs, I just try to make good contact. Baloney. Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista are trying to hit home runs to left field when they come to the plate, and twice now in the series, Encarnacion has succeeded.
That was a mile high and gone. Canadians politely clapping. Here's Laurie. A couple of RBI singles. Encarnacion, I mean, he mentioned this before. He'd had a 26 homer season, a 21 homer season. 2 years ago, he had 17 homers in over 130 games. And suddenly, last year at the age of 29, hit 42. And now this year is a 30-year-old. He's got 36 with about a month to go.
7 of his last 10 hits here at Chase Field have been home runs.
Whew. Let's try and trade for him.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Wow, that was majestic. Will Harris, who's just been blowing guys away. Sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar eats you.
Some days you can't even find the woods.
2-2 to Laurie. In and out of the glove. He's got plenty of time. Little underhand toss, and they retire Laurie. But Edwin Encarnacion, for the second time in as many games, hits a long home run, and the Blue Jays take a 7-4 lead.
One of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
A lot of changes for the Blue Jays. Starting on the mound, the new pitcher is the right-hander. This is Dustin McGowan. He'll work the bottom of the eighth against Adam Eaton, A.J. Pollock, and Paul Goldschmidt. Top of the order for the Diamondbacks, who now trail it 7-4. Rajai Davis has moved from center to left field, so Rajai Davis takes over in left, and replacing Davis in center is Anthony Gose, who started there yesterday afternoon. Adam Eaton leads off the eighth. He homered in the fourth, 1 for 3. Hits that one in the air right to Davis. 1 pitch, 1 out. Back with you tomorrow for the series finale, the homestand finale. It's a day game here at Chase Field, so come on out and join us. Skip work, play hooky, lie to somebody. I mean, who are we kidding? But come on out here and join us. Pre-game show, Diamondbacks live at 12 o'clock, 12:30 ball game on Fox Sports Arizona. 95 misses there to Pollock. It's 1-0. A.J. singled his last time. He's 1 for 3. A.J. hitting over 300 in his last 15 games. That includes 10 starts. Paul Bissonnette. Two and one.
Hey, congratulations in order to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the first time since 1992, it's mathematically impossible for them to have a losing record. Picked up their 81st victory of the season tonight.
They got pennant fever in Pittsburgh. We saw that when we were there. They are excited about their team, and for good reason. Pirates beat Milwaukee today at Miller Park 4-3. And the Reds beat the Cardinals. That's excellent news for the Pirates, of course. And Pittsburgh now leads that National League Central by 2 games over the Cardinals. 3.5 over the Reds. Hello, Jose. Pollock's aboard.
Oopsie. Right through the wickets.
They went 5-hole.
It looked like the most routine of grounders. That last hop just stayed down. He came up with the glove. It sneaks through into left field. That'll be an E6 on Reyes, bringing Paul Goldschmidt to the plate with a runner on base.
There's a strike, 0-1 at 96.
Other baseball news, Max Scherzer went 7 innings tonight, struck out 8, gave up 2 runs, and lost to the Red Sox 2-1.
Taking another shot at number 20, right?
Yeah, now he's 19-2 on the season. And in Cincinnati Reds land, Billy Hamilton, the speedster, made his major league debut for the Reds tonight. Came in as a pinch runner, stole a base, scored the only run in a 1-0 Reds win over the Cardinals tonight.
He came in the fastest man in baseball, Billy Hamilton, came in his major league debut after they had a runner reach first in a 0-0 game of the 7th. Speaking of stolen bases, there goes Pollock, and AJ's in there. His 10th stolen base this year. Billy Hamilton, first big league game, 0-0 7th. Yadier Molina's the catcher, steals the base and scores the game's only run. And on the replay, Cardinal fans, calm down. Probably would have had him with a better throw.
Good throw, probably would have had him.
But he brings that level of excitement to the game.
But that's what the speed does. It forces you to hurry everything. And even, for my estimation, the best defensive catcher in the game, best throwing catcher in the game, rushed his throw. It was wide at second base. Hamilton made it, and then later came around to score the only run of the game.
1-2 to Goldie, down and away here. And he chases for the strikeout. Don't see him do that a lot. He usually lays off that pitch.
Maybe a little frustration on Goldie's part. He wants something to hit so bad. That's the last thing you want to see him do, is start to expand his own strike zone. But you can certainly understand his frustration just not getting much to hit.
Here's the updated look at the National League Central. Pirates now 2 ahead of the Cardinals and 3.5 up on the Reds. Cubbies still in it. Have they been eliminated?
Oh, yeah.
Martin Prado 1 for 3. Singled in the 4th. So the hit streak now at 10 games. Interesting division right now. The one to watch is the American League West, where the A's and the Rangers are dead even at 79 and 58 apiece.
And playing each other right now, Texas has a 4-1 lead over the Oakland Athletics in the bottom half of the 7th inning in Oakland.
That's a fun team to watch, those A's. Really fun. Last year won that division on the final day of the year.
A band of misfits. A lot of guys who were picked up on waivers, traded from organizations where they just didn't fit in. Went out there to Oakland, and they're just a happy bunch of winning ball players.
It's a whole team of Hermie the dentists. You can see we showed you that division, the AL West. The Astros have won 45 games?
45.
Chris Davis of the Orioles has 47 home runs.
Ooh.
He has more home runs than the Astros have victories. Driven to center field. Gose is out there. Lots of room. And that ends the 8th inning. We will head to the 9th. Diamondbacks trail at 7-4.
With Steve Berthume, Aaron Hill joins Steve to talk about the concussion that almost ended his career and Twitter. Sunday at 4 and 10, Cup of Coffee with Steve Berthume, only on Fox Sports Arizona.
That was a fun show down at Chloe's Corner here in downtown Phoenix. Going to have a pinch hitter right now. Adam Lynn, the left-hander, has been announced, and Kirk Gibson waited for that. He's got Will Harris out there on the mound, but the lefty was announced, and now Gibby will counter with his lefty. That's it for Will Harris. Here comes Yuri De La Rosa. We're back after this. For the 9th inning, as Adam Lind was announced to hit in the pitcher's spot, which is 5th in the order right now. 15th appearance for Yuri De La Rosa, who's got a .82 ERA, and he has been one of the pleasant surprises this year out of Kirk Gibson's bullpen. He'll face Adam Lind, big left-hand power hitter. Lynn had some big months earlier this year. He hit over 340 in both May and June. On June 16th, he was hitting 350 for the year, but since then he's hit under 230. So he's been scuffling here over most of the summer.
Boy, his big breakthrough season. I mean, he had some good years before this, but in 09, in 151 games, he hit 35 homers, drove in 114, 46 doubles, scored 93 runs.
From Highland High School in Anderson, Illinois, just like Luis Gonzalez here on Gonzo's birthday, is a South Alabama Jaguar.
We'll have to talk to Gonzo about that, because when I was going to Ohio University, we actually played at the University of South Alabama on our spring trip one year. Eddie Stanky was the head coach.
Down in Mobile.
Yeah.
Right on the water there.
I remember it being a bandbox.
If you go down to that area right near Pensacola on the Florida Panhandle, you'll head into Alabama, and then Mobile is not too far off if you're driving west. And there's actually a bar right there called the Floribama Lounge, right on the line. Half the bars in Alabama, half the bars in Florida.
That could be problematic if the drinking age in the two states was different.
Well, just go to the other side of the room. You're fine.
I guess so.
This is there. It's full 3-2. And in that part of the country, you always have your bar that's affiliated with a particular college. So on your college football Saturdays, this place is a Georgia bar, this place is a Florida State bar, on and on. Lynn drives it to right. And out of here. That's a home run. His first of the year. First for the pitcher's spot, certainly.
Nice try by Gerardo Parr. Looked like that line drive skipped right off the top of the fence, hit the back wall, and ricocheted back onto the field of play. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And you know, Gerardo Parra does what you expect him to do. Just play it. Hope that the umpires didn't see the ball go over the fence, but they saw it. Unfortunately, first base umpire Jerry Lane snuck down that right field line far enough to get a good look at it. So Lind will complete his home run trot.
17th of the year for Adam Lind and his 48th RBI. J.P. Arancibia now. Third home run of the ball game for the Blue Jays. Davis, Encarnacion, and now Lind.
Well, it's only taken me, 17 innings into this series to realize that J.P. Arancibia is wearing number 9, which was my number as a member of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it wasn't retired. What happened?
I'm shocked. I don't know.
Paperwork snafu.
There should be an investigation. All I know is Rick Leach wore it before me, and apparently Rick Leach made a lot of enemies around the American League.
Shouldn't he have been number 7? He was number 7 as a quarterback at Michigan.
He wore number 9 with the Blue Jays, and on our batting practice jerseys, we didn't have names on the back, just the number. So when I would come out of the dugout for batting practice on the road in American League cities, man, you can't believe the hatred that came flowing down from the stands. Hey, Leach, you stink. I turn around. I'm not Rick Leach. Give me a break. Let me earn your hatred.
All right, hold on. Well, Bob Brenly in 1989.
Oh, don't go there.
Well, let's do comparison here. BB in 89 with the Blue Jays after coming over from the Giants. Actually, yeah, he started with the Giants and ended up in Toronto. 48 games with the Blue Jays. Hit. All right, well, let's move on.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right, well, hold on. Let's see if it's worse than Rick Leach. You still have a chance here.
Now, you're going to have to get deep into the sabermetrics to find something good about my time in Toronto.
Well, Rick Leach played there a long time. Let's see, from 84 to 88, he played. He was a career 283 hitter in the Blue Jays. What are they complaining about?
He was the visiting team, so maybe, he did some damage against the Yankees or the Indians or whoever it may have been.
Right fielder, Moises Sierra.
.283 and 8 homers, 95 RBIs for Rick Leach from 84 to 88. You actually managed in your brief time there to hit 110 points less than that.
Which wasn't easy. It took some kind of effort. I hit into a lot of tough luck.
Just hit the ball right at people.
Ooh. Snap throw over there by De La Rosa. Very nearly caught Aaron Sebia leaning the wrong way.
Your problem in '89 was they hadn't invented BABIP yet.
That's what I needed.
Among other things.
Yeah. I almost had the very first home run at then Skydome against the Milwaukee Brewers and Dan Plesac. How good would that have been to have that to hang over his head for the rest of his life? I hit a ball to left center field that got out there and feathered on the warning track. Catch was made. Oh, so close.
Wow. Speaking of home runs, first of the year for Moises Sierra, and it's 10-4. He's got a Saskatchewan Roughriders hat on. Moises Sierra played 49 games with the Blue Jays last year, hit 6 home runs. That's his first for this season. And here's Anthony Gose, who came into play center field. Willie Bloomquist spins and throws from the outfield grass. A nice play by Willie.
Not an easy play. Ball off the bat of a left-hander, has some side English. Willie had to kind of field that ball very close to his legs, wheel and throw quickly because Gose can really get down that line.
Ryan Goins came in to play second base for Mark DeRosa.
We mentioned Derek Jeter's name earlier in the telecast. He had 2 more hits tonight, giving him 3,315, passing Eddie Collins for 9th on the all-time hit list tonight.
Eddie Collins, wow. You pass Eddie Collins in any category, then you're doing something. Speaking of second baseman, Eddie Collins' old position, Aaron Hill from the right field grass makes a nice play. That might be the first time Aaron Hill has touched the ball defensively tonight.
I think he had one other ground ball to end the 5th inning, but yeah, he hasn't had much action on his side of the field at all tonight. Had to back up to play the hop here and then really rush his throw. Nice play on the other end by Goldie, stretching straight out that right field line to make the catch.
Here's Reyes. Eddie Collins, of course, longtime Hall of Famer, but he was the second baseman on the Black Sox, Eddie Collins. He was not involved in the conspiracy. Became a Hall of Famer. Bloomquist again. Strong throw, and that's the inning. But the Blue Jays score 3 times on 2 homers. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Coming up, leading it off for the Diamondbacks in the 9th is former Blue Jay Aaron Hill.
Earlier in this game, when the D-backs were drawing close to the Toronto Blue Jays, had runners at first and second, nobody out in that 6th inning. Martin Prado grounded into a 6-4-3 double play, and then a great play at third by Laurie against Aaron Hill. Took him right out of the inning. Looked like the Diamondbacks were going to creep back into this ball game, and the Blue Jays defense did not allow him to do it.
Left-hander Aaron Loop on for the 2nd time in as many games. He'll work the 9th. Aaron Hill, Miguel Montero, Gerardo Parra, 5, 6, and 7 for the Diamondbacks. Aaron Hill, the former Blue Jay, 0 for 3. Rally cap in place. Hold to second. Goins is there.
Llega.
Here's Miguel Montero. Mickey having a good night. 2 for 3. He scored twice, a single and a home run. His 10th of the year, his last at bat. But 2 good swings on the ball tonight. So Miggy is 8 for 23 since his return from the DL. Missed 24 games with a back injury. Center field, Ghosts. 2 down.
Right fielder, Gerardo Parra.
Nationals, with their win, have tied the Diamondbacks in the National League wildcard standings right now. Both teams 7.5 back of the Reds for that 2nd spot. And so a loss here will drop the Diamondbacks behind Washington in the wild card standings. Nationals 9-6 winners over the Phillies. There's the strikeout, and that's the ball game. Aaron Sibia holds on, and the Blue Jays win it 10-4. And they have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game set with the series and homestand finale coming up tomorrow afternoon here on Fox Sports Arizona. And Bob, once again, it's what we talked about a moment ago. Relatively no-name pitchers coming in here and looking like Cy Young winners.
Yeah, I mean, you got to tip your cap. Redmond pitched a good game tonight, as did some of the other no-name pitchers against the D-backs, but you could clearly sense the frustration on the part of manager Kurt Gibson after last night's ball game. Can't believe he's going to be any more pleased tonight.
10 runs, 15 hits for the Blue Jays, 4 runs, 7 hits for the Diamondbacks. They drop behind the Nationals in the race for that second National League wildcard spot. Diamondbacks Live starts right now. Let's send it out to center field with Todd and Joe. Guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. Our coverage continues here.